Fionn and the Lonely Giant. The Wicklow Mountains of Ireland were a kingdom of mist and green, a place where the hills rolled like great sleeping dragons, and the rivers sang 1,000 ancient songs. In a quiet, secret part of this kingdom lived a little Druid boy named Fionn. Fionn was a small boy with a great big heart. His hair was a wild, wavy tangle of chestnut, and his eyes, as green as the moss that grew on old stones, were always wide with curiosity. He wore a simple tunic the color of damp earth, and his feet, clad in soft leather sandals, moved silently over the forest floor. He had a special friend, a staff made of gnarled hazelwood, and with it he could listen to the secrets the plants whispered. The forest was a very busy place. The old oak trees would tell stories of the sun and the stars. The little wildflowers would giggle in the breeze. The robins would sing their cheerful songs, and the badgers would mumble to themselves as they dug their holes. It was a happy, busy home, and Fionn knew every sound it made. One quiet morning, Fionn was gathering bright red berries from a thorny bush. He was humming a happy little tune when the ground beneath his feet began to shake. Not a little tremble like when a badger ran past, but a great low rumble. It was a sound that shook the very roots of the trees and made the stones on the path bounce and roll. Thump, thump, thump went the sound. It was coming from the mountains. The happy chattering of the forest stopped. The robins flew away with a worried chirp. The little wildflowers stopped giggling and bent their heads low. Even the old oak tree's stories were muffled and afraid. The whole forest was listening, and Fionn listened, too. "What is that sound?" he whispered to his staff. "What is that sound?" The sound was not an angry sound. It was not a happy sound. It was a very, very sad sound. It was a sound filled with loneliness, a lonely, rumbling voice that echoed through the valley. "Woo!" went the voice. Woo! Filled with a mix of wonder and worry, Fionn decided he had to find out what was making that sound. He tucked the berries into his pouch and began to walk towards the hills, following the sound of the lonely giant's voice. He walked past shivering trees and quiet streams until he reached a high pass in the mountains. And there he saw him. The giant was huge. His head touched the clouds, and his hands were as big as a cluster of small trees. His hair was tangled with grass, and his beard was a mess of moss and tiny mushrooms. This was Fionn mac Cumhaill, the great legendary giant. But he didn't look like a hero. He looked very, very sad. Fionn was sitting on a hillside, his head in his hands. He was crying great silent tears that turned into tiny streams as they rolled down the hill. He would let out a big, lonely sigh that made the whole mountain tremble. The air around him was cold and empty. Fionn felt a great wave of compassion for the lonely giant. He wasn't a monster. He was just sad. He wanted to go closer, but a voice from a small squirrel chittered from a branch above him. "Don't go near him, Fionn. Don't you see? His voice is too loud. His feet are too heavy. He scares everyone away." And it was true. The grass around the giant was flattened, and the birds flew far, far away from him. The beautiful flowers Fionn loved so much had wilted as if they were too frightened to bloom. The giant Fionn sighed a great sigh again. "Woo!" went the voice. "I am all alone." Fionn knew then what he had to do. He would not run away. He would go to the giant. He would try to help. He would show the lonely giant that being big and loud didn't mean you had to be alone. He took a deep breath, and with his staff held high, he began to walk towards the great sad giant. Fionn, a small boy on a very big hill, walked towards the giant. The ground felt different here, soft and sad. The air, which was usually sweet with the smell of flowers, smelled of dust and loneliness. The giant's great, sad face was as big as a mountain, and his tears were making little puddles on the ground. Sigh, went Fionn, a great rumbling sound. He did not see Fionn. Hello, Fionn said, his voice small but clear. He had to say it again, a little louder. Hello, Fionn Cumhaill. The giant's head lifted slowly. His big, sad eyes looked down, and he saw a tiny boy standing near his hand. He looked confused and a little bit surprised. Who are you, little sprout? He asked, his voice shaking the earth. Why are you not running away? I'm Fionn, said the boy bravely, and I'm not running away because you're sad. The forest is sad too. Your great sadness is making the trees wilt and the flowers hide their heads. Fionn looked around, and a new wave of sadness washed over him. He saw the flattened grass, the sad, quiet birds. I am too big and too loud, he said, his voice a low grumble. My feet are too heavy. My voice is too shaky. No one wants to be my friend. Fionn felt a great pang of sympathy for the lonely giant. He wasn't scary at all. He was just lonely. You are not too big, Fionn, Fionn said, a wise look in his green eyes. You just need to find a new way to be a friend. He reached into his small leather pouch, the one with his treasures. I have something for you, he said. He pulled out a small cloth bag. It was filled with magical seeds. These were not ordinary seeds. These were seeds from a secret valley Fionn had discovered, a place full of magical plants that bloomed with happiness. These are happy seeds, Fionn explained. If you help me, we can make a garden, a happy, colorful, quiet garden that will show everyone you are not a scary giant, but a friend. Fionn looked at the little seeds in his great big hand. They were so small. He was so big. How can I, a great giant, plant these tiny seeds? He asked, his voice filled with a kind of sad wonder. I will surely crush them. Not with your hands, Fionn said with a smile. With your heart. Fionn, with surprising gentleness, began to follow Fionn. Fionn led him to a small hidden valley, a place with soft, rich soil and a tiny burbling stream. Here, Fionn said, this is a good place for a garden. Fionn sat down, his movements slow and careful. He used his giant fingers, with the patience of a spider weaving its web, to poke small holes in the soft earth. He placed one tiny seed in each hole, covering it gently with the soil. It was a funny sight, a great giant working with such a gentle hand. And now my part, Fionn said. He placed his hand on his staff, and a soft green light pulsed from its tip. He began to sing a new song, a song not of sadness, but of hope and life. It was a magical song that spoke to the seeds in the soil. The song was a gentle, rolling rhythm. Grow, little seeds, grow and grow. Show your bright colors, your colors glow. And as he sang, the tiny seeds began to sprout. Little green shoots pushed their way out of the earth. They grew and grew, becoming strong stalks, and then great colorful flowers in every shade of the rainbow. Reds like a robin, yellows like the sun, and blues like the clearest sky. The valley filled with their sweet perfume, a scent of honey and sunshine. A clear stream, no longer sad and quiet, began to run and babble over the stones, and one by one the animals began to return. The little wildflowers unbent their heads and started to giggle in the breeze again. The robins flew back and sang their cheerful songs. People from a nearby village, hearing the sounds of the happy forest, came to see what had happened. They saw the beautiful, colorful garden, and they saw the giant Fionn sitting quietly, a happy smile on his face. He was not scary at all. He was a guardian. Fionn's heart filled with a joy so great it made the whole world feel warm. He looked at Finn, at the beautiful garden he had helped create, at the people and animals who were no longer afraid. He realized that the greatest power was not in being big, but in being good. And the story goes that if you visit the Wicklow Mountains, you can still hear the quiet sound of a giant's laugh echoing through the valley, a happy rumbling sound that reminds everyone of the friendship between a small druid and a great giant.